There are over 80 playable characters in Super Smash Bros, and with the games being so popular, they've all been marketed in some way. From plush to Lego, they literally have everything. And with that being said, I want to take a look at every single Smash Bros character that you can purchase as a Funko Pop. So let's get started! Let's start with the main characters, the ones that you unlock and battle with, such as Mario, Kirby, Samus, Donkey Kong. Funko has none of these. They actually don't have the Nintendo license at all, but the good news is Smash Bros isn't just Nintendo. And now I guess the closest we could get is Pokemon, and there is a lot of them. With the first couple being Pikachu, Pichu, and Mewtwo. And so for the most part, when it comes to popular Pokemon, Funko has made figures for them. And I know that I don't have Pikachu here because I didn't want to grab the normal size one. I thought that would have been kind of boring. I decided to show you guys my 18-inch Pikachu. It's perfect. Next up here, we've got Pokemon Trainer, and he doesn't specifically have a Funko Pop, but the Pokemon that he uses does. And now throughout battles, you'll see him using 3 different Pokemon, with 2 of them being Charizard as well as Squirtle, and the third one, Ivysaur, there is no Funko Pop for it yet. Which is too bad, and I'm hoping that they do make one in the future because that would be an amazing figure. And now there's one more playable Pokemon that has a Funko Pop, and the one that I'm talking about is Lucario, and this one might be one of my favorites. Just because the Pop looks like he's ready to fight, almost like you could have pulled him directly out of Smash Bros. And now let's get out of Pokemon and get into some more random characters, with the next one being Sonic. And now there are a bunch of different Sonic Pops, but the one that I decided to go with for today was the 30th anniversary version, which I thought looked really great, and also they're calling it the Classic Sonic, so I thought it was perfect. And something that's unique to this character is the fact that they made it look like he's running. Oh, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen the original Sonic Funko Pops that released, but the new ones they did a couple years ago are definitely a nice upgrade. Then next up we've got Mega Man, and it's too bad that I don't actually have a Mega Man Pop in my collection, and now that I'm making this video, I kind of want to get one. Oh, and you know what? Now that I think about it, it would be cool to have the Lucario across from that Mega Man. It would look perfect. And then after that, we've got Pac-Man, and the one that Funko created was actually perfect for Smash Bros because he does actually have his arms as well as his legs. And I was afraid that when Funko said they were going to be making a Pac-Man, it was going to look more like the arcade game, but it seems like they went for more of like the cartoon version of him. I really enjoy it. Now let's get into some Street Fighter's characters, because you can actually play as both Ryu and Ken, who both have Funko Pops, but the only one that I've got is this one here, and it's a bit of a weird one, but this is actually a 2-pack, which is a Street Fighter and Fortnite collaboration, because you can play as him in Fortnite as well. And so no, Bright Bomber isn't in Smash Bros, but this Ryu is, and I also really enjoy how this one is also in an attack stance. And now we're getting into the most recent addition to this list, which is Bayonetta, and that one's inside of a collector's box that you can only get over at GameStop. And because it's so new, I don't even have it in my collection, but when it does release, I will definitely be picking it up right away. Then next up, we've got Joker from Persona 5, and this one's really cool because it actually has 2 different versions. There is the masked as well as unmasked version, and I feel like both work pretty well. Now let's get into some of my favorite characters in Smash, which is Steve and Alex from Minecraft. And it's cool because Funko has actually made a plethora of different Minecraft figures, and the one that I've got in my collection is Steve in diamond armor. Oh, and I also want to mention that Alex is not a separate character in Smash, she's literally just a reskin of Steve, but it's cool that you can play as both. And so that's why I wanted to mention them, because there is both a Steve and an Alex Funko Pop, and taking a look at the list of characters, I'm hoping that Funko does make more, because there are a lot more in Smash that totally could turn into Pops. Like both the Enderman and Zombie would look amazing as figures. Then we've got Kazuya from Tekken, which I do not have a figure of, but Funko has made a bunch of. And then lastly, we've got Sora from Kingdom Hearts, which has a bunch of figures, but the only one that I have in my collection is the Tron version, which is not in Smash Bros, so it doesn't really count. Now let's get into movesets, and if you don't know what this is, it's actually the set of moves that a character can perform, and some of those moves involve more than one character. So this isn't a character that you can select to play as, but they are still in the game. Now the only one that I own out of all of them is the Creeper from Minecraft, which shows up in Steve's Final Smash. But there are a bunch of other ones, such as Rush, which is Mega Man's up B. Then we have Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde, which is Pac-Man's F Smash, Down Smash, and Up Smash. Arson, who is Joker's mechanic, he'll almost appear above him, and he looks super menacing. And then Joker's Final Smash is a big one, because you get characters like Morgana, Skull, Panther, Queen, and Fox, who all show up at different times. Now, assist trophies are very similar to movesets, but these characters will actually help you out in battle instead of just showing up in different places. With the first one here being Knuckles the Echidna from Sonic. He'll actually show up and help you out in battle, and it's pretty cool to see him fighting along with you. And a little fun fact about this one, it's actually from the same set as the 30th anniversary Sonic that I showed you guys earlier, and this one is flocked, so he's a little bit fuzzy. And it's pretty cool because that is the only way that you're able to get Knuckles, unless you want to go back and get, well, one of those ones. And then the other one that I actually have in my collection is a bit of a weird one because it's not exactly who it is from the game, but you guys will see what I'm talking about in a second. It is Leonardo da Vinci. Because Vince from Art Academy is actually in the game, and he is based off of Leonardo da Vinci, but he has the name of Vincent van Gogh, so it's kind of like both of them together. That's why I figured I might as well show them off. I don't know if you can exactly count this one, but I thought it was funny, so we might as well talk about it. And now let's go through the characters that I don't have, because there's a pretty good amount of them. Starting with Shadow the Hedgehog, then we've got the Pac-Man ghosts again, Rathalos, Dr. Wily, as well as some of the Nintendogs, Labrador Retriever, as well as the French Bulldog. And now very similar to Vince, that one is a bit of a stretch, but I mean, they are generic dogs in Nintendogs, and Funko did make generic pops for those dog breeds, so they kind of count. Oh, and very similar to assist trophies, there's also Pokeballs that can show up on every stage, and those Pokemon can help you out in battle. And there are 5 different ones that can pop out of there, with them being Vulpix, Eevee, Meowth, Mew, and then this one here, Piplup, is kind of, I mean, he was only in Brawl and never shows up in Ultimate, but I figured we might as well talk about him because he was in Smash Bros. At one point. And it's too bad because I would love to see Piplup in Ultimate. I mean, come on, look at how cute he is. Now, you guys heard me talk about stages a second ago, and it's literally just different places that you can battle in from different franchises. And usually in the background of those stages, you can find other characters. I think you guys know where I'm going with this. And so there are 2 stages where in the background, you can actually find figures that do have Funko Pops, with the first one being Minecraft World. And so if you look closely, you'll actually see a creeper, which we did talk about earlier, but then there's also a skeleton, and then when it starts to turn to day, a flaming skeleton. And I wanted to mention the flaming part because there is a flaming skeleton Funko Pop, so it's perfect. And then the other stage that there is Hollow Bastion, which is actually based off of Kingdom Hearts, and you can find a bunch of different characters there. Riku, Kairi, Aqua, Axel or Lee, as well as Vanitas. That's right guys, all of them. Now, Mii costumes are some interesting ones because Nintendo added a lot of random characters here. And there's about 10 or 15 costumes that actually have pops. And now the only 2 characters that we haven't talked about yet is Volt Boy from Fallout as well as Tails Miles Prower. And it's actually pretty cool because very similar to Knuckles, the only way you could get this Tails was this flocked version here. I love it. And then when it comes to Volt Boy, even though I really enjoy the Fallout games, the only one that I had was this Pip-Boy exclusive green, which is still really cool, but it isn't exactly accurate to the Mii costume. It would be more like this one here. And so the Mii costumes that do have pops but I don't own in my collection are Altair from Assassin's Creed, Cuphead, Dragonborn from Skyrim, Feline from Monster Hunter, Heihachi from Tekken, Morgana from Persona 5, Proto Man from Mega Man, Shantae, Mega Man X from Marvel vs. Capcom, Hunter from Monster Hunter, Monster Hunter from Marvel vs. Capcom, and Doom Guy. That's a lot of characters. Now we've got spirits, and there's something a little bit crazy about these. It's the amount of spirits that there actually are, because every single character in Smash Bros. Has a spirit. And it's not even just characters, it can be items as well as other things, so there's about 1,500 of them in the game. You can get spirits by playing Spirit Board or World of Light, and they can also be purchased in-game if you want to do that too. And so before I just rattle off every single one of them, let's go through the ones that I actually have physical figures for. With the first ones here being a couple different Pokemon, because they are not found anywhere else in the game besides spirits. And the 3 that I'm talking about are Lapras, Cubone, as well as Dragonite. And I kind of wish that these guys showed up more in the game because I feel like Dragonite would be a really cool playable character. And maybe it's because of the fact that Charizard is already kind of a playable character, so to have both Dragonite and Charizard, they're both dragons, are a little bit too similar, but I don't know. There's something about him that I really enjoy. There's also some Sonic characters that show up as well, which is Silver the Hedgehog as well as Sonic the Werehog. And it's actually really funny because this is the 2nd newest release for Funko Pops, with Bayonetta being first. This one here released, like, I want to say last month. It wasn't that long ago. And so I was pretty excited when I found out he was a spirit because this this is a great figure. Oh, and also, the version of silver that I've got is the glow-in-the-dark one, and I gotta say, this translucent gray that it's got is pretty neat. And then the last physical spirit that I've got is from Punch-Out, and this one here is actually Mr. Sandman, who is based off of, are you guys ready for this? Mike Tyson. And so very similar to Vince as well as the Nintendogs, it's not exactly the same, but it's close enough. I feel like we might as well talk about it. And if you guys want to take a look at him, well, here he is. And the biggest reason I wanted to talk about this one was because it's actually in the Pop boxing line, so this very well could be him in the game. And now, everybody, let's go through all of the other ones, starting with Dr. Eggman. Then we've got Super Shadow, and a little fun fact about this one is that Super Shadow is the most expensive Funko Pop out of every single one of the ones in Smash. It was exclusive to E3 and was limited to 1,500 pieces, and if you wanted to pick up one for yourself, it would run you about $1,100. Then we've got Proto Man, as well as Blanca, Chun-Li, Balrog, Akuma, Dan, and Cammy, all from Street Fighter. Oh, and also inside of the exact same collector's box that we talked about earlier with Bayonetta, you can also get John, who is another character from that game. Then we've got Trevor Belmont, as well as Dracula, both from Castlevania, Jill and Leon from Resident Evil, Mugman the Devil and King Dice from Cuphead, as well as Jin, King, and Nina Williams, all from Tekken. And now that right there, guys, was the biggest category with Funko Pops, and it's definitely because of the amount that Nintendo made. Like I mentioned earlier, there's literally over 1,500 of them. Now, trophies. You may be thinking they're very similar to assist trophies, but they're not exactly the same. They're actually more like spirits, but from other games that aren't Smash Ultimate. So instead of it being a 2D image, it's more of a 3D one, and there are only 3 things here that have Funko Pops, and they're all Pokemon. And now here's the thing, guys. I am not complaining, because the 3 that they have are actually some pretty good ones. So we've got Leafeon, Bulbasaur, as well as Sylveon. Sylveon can be found in the Wii U and 3DS version, when these two here can both be found in Brawl, and then Bulbasaur can also be found in Melee. And if I'm gonna be honest, I don't exactly know why they didn't carry these 3 over into Ultimate with spirits. It would have been kind of cool. Especially because of the amount of spirits there are, it probably would have been pretty easy. And well, guys, there you go. That is every single Funko Pop that you can find in Super Smash Bros. And also, I have to give a huge shout out to my friend Alejandro, who helped me out with this entire video. Him and I were going back and forth for days trying to make sure we got every single Funko Pop we could find. And actually, just more recently, he started streaming on Whatnot, selling some of his figures. So if you guys want to check him out, I will have him linked in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see more from me in the future, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all that. But this has been an episode of Top Pops. Popsters, thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow.
Did the math, I'm baby Johnny Cash. My girl gon' throw it back. That my life is cinemax. Holy hell, this max. I make hits and you make trash. I'm on vacay, do no ass. Poolside eating Apple Jacks. Shut up. Big deal like TJ Maxx. Pop some cataracts. Watch a naughty tag. Nick Cage, how I act. Heavily dislike.